How do I start my own business?
Being my own brand would be totally legit.
I want to be the next Gary Vee.
My dream is to be on Shark Tank.
I'm just gonna Google it.
I mean, I'm awesome at social media. What could go wrong?
Oh my God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second season of Learning Curves. I'm back and really excited to be here again. Just got back from my destination wedding trip in Italy, and it was a blast. I'll be sharing a lot of that with you and plan on having my own solo cast dedicated to destination travel and traveling with a big group and all those fun things. But yes, I am now Kelly Primo instead of Kelly Vassetti. So that's exciting. But yeah, lots happened in the last month, but I'm excited to be back here. And today I have a very special guest with me, Miss Amanda Loeffler. How are you doing today, Amanda?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Just excited to have the podcast going again. We've been off for about a month and a half, so.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Yep, went over to Italy for a month. I was over there. And we traveled over there with 30 people. It was crazy, that many people. And we went all through Rome and the Amalfi Coast. And then we went over to Capri, where I got married. And we did a lot of different things. So it was a really, really awesome.
I can't wait to see your pictures.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
It was fairy tale.
Yeah, I'm sure. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it really was. So I'm just getting back after being gone for a month. My first time I've ever left for that long. And interesting coming back. You kind of get a little bit of like the vacation blues a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I broke my foot over in Portugal, so I've been dealing with a broken foot ever since I've been back too. So,
ouch! I'm sorry.
Well, that's always something. Have to get through it, I guess.
Yeah.
But we're here today to talk about your awesome business. Amanda is a notary, and she helps businesses. I know with my business, I need all kinds of notary help and different documents signed. And sometimes it's like, God, I just don't have time to get over to a bank or somewhere where I can get all that done. And then having a service like yours where you can either do it online or come in person, that's really be very helpful for a lot of businesses. And you're an entrepreneur. You have a lot of different business ideas, and you're going to be hopefully one day starting a gluten-free kitchen.
And gluten-free restaurant concept, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're really excited to have you here. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm Amanda. I am married to Jake. I have 5 awesome kids at home. And I am that person that just does not stop. I get an idea in my head, and then I start writing a business plan, and then it's like, oh, hey, we can do this. Why aren't we doing this? We can do this. So
I love that, a visionary.
Yeah. So kind of started back in, I guess I'll talk about the restaurant first and then I'll pivot. So back in 2014, I took a trip. My aunt had heart surgery, and we had lost a friend to melanoma all in the same, I found out in the same 2-hour period of time. So we found out about the friend that passed first, and my husband and I were going, well, who goes? Are you going or am I going? Because he served in the military with him. And then we found out about my aunt, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going. She was there for my mom before my mom passed. And I was like, I can't not go. So we were living in Mississippi at the time, and I flew from Mississippi to Boston. And then I drove from Boston up to my other aunt's house in Augusta, Maine. And I figured out along the way that there was nothing for me, a person with food allergies, to eat. I was gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free, fish-free, and a few other frees.
Oh, wow.
But those were the big ticket things.
Yeah,
so big ticket things. And so, wandering through the airport, I found a place where I could find plain rice. I could have potato chips. I could have soda and not much else. And I was like, what the heck? This is ridiculous. I'm going to start a restaurant concept, and it's going to be in all the airports and all the stadiums and all the other places. By the time I got to my aunt and uncle's house, I had my business plan written in my head and no money. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it. And I told my uncle, and he's like, you can't do that. And I was like, shut up. Yes, I can. And he was like, how? You have 3 small kids at home. I was like, details, like, just don't tell me I can't. Anyway, my whole family in Maine was all kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't see that going anywhere. I was like, shut up. Yes, I can. I had worked in restaurants. I had managed restaurants.
An awesome idea. They'll put it in
Right.
stadiums and places. Because I
Yes.
know when I'm trying to be healthy and eating that way, it's almost impossible when you go to games and to find healthy food because it's mostly all junk food.
You know,
Yeah.
think about when you stay in a hotel or when, you know, and folks that don't struggle with food allergies, they don't think about this stuff. And they're like, I don't really see what the problem is. I was like, well, do you like to be hungry, like hangry where you are? Because I don't. You know, I really like food. I like to eat. So anyway, I had this whole grand plan. I spent a couple days in Maine, and I didn't have cell phone reception while I was up there, you know, because my family is mostly in the boonies, and they won't like that, but it's true. Anyway, so I was like, well, I'm doing it. My whole family was like, I don't know about that. I go down to Boston where we see a whole bunch of our friends, and they're like, oh my gosh, when are you opening? I'm going to be there. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Those are my people. My family's my people too, but like, come on, people, just be a little more supportive. So I went home and I told my husband, I was like, I'm going to culinary school. I'm going to open this restaurant. And I realized I can't do it without going to culinary school. And then, you know, I probably need to go to business school so that way I know what I'm doing. Like, I have an idea of what I'm doing, but I really want to know what I'm doing and I want to do it correctly. You know, not only that, but if I ever ask anybody to invest in my concept, I don't want them to go, girl, you can't manage money. Like, I don't have any proof that you can pass a finance class or anything like that. So I didn't want those to be barriers. So I was like, well, I'm going to go to culinary school. And so I told my husband, like, hey, I'm going to use your VA benefits. He was like, I want to go to grad school. No, you don't. Like, that was the only time he had ever mentioned going to grad school. I'm like, you don't want to go to grad school. I'm like, you
Give me those credits. Right. I'm going instead.
I know, right? I was like, I'm going to go. So I started culinary school the following semester using his VA benefits. Thank you, honey. And I managed to get almost all the way through school before my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer, and I had to move back home to help take care of him. So I was literally like a couple classes away from graduating, and I'm like, oh, come on. I'm still going to figure out how to graduate from that because I haven't graduated from that yet, but I'm very close. But if I have to come back here to take the classes, I have to take 25% of the program in person to be able to graduate with their degree instead of the three that I was almost done with. I had travel and tourism, culinary, and then hotel and restaurant management. So, yeah, so I'm that person that I decide I'm going to do something, I'm going. So, we moved back here and then unexpectedly found out that we were expecting another child. And I was like, oh, I can't go back to school right now. Shoot. So I had to take a break. And then we had him. He had major medical issues. He was born with something called craniosynostosis. And he had to have major reconstructive surgery to fix it by Dr. Pat Ricaldi over in Tampa. She is amazing. I highly recommend her. And, got through that. And
yeah, that's a scary thing to happen because my son got really sick from similar, not quite as, he didn't have to have surgery, but he was very, very ill for a while.
Yeah. It's scary stuff. A big ticket surgery, but as soon as she was done, I was like, how'd you do it? I want to watch the next surgery. And she's like, you're so weird. I probably am weird. Anyway, then we unexpectedly had another child, and we've put a stop to that now, thank goodness. I love all my babies, but I can't imagine having any more. I'm too old to have more babies.
Having babies makes you very fertile.
Yes, and I'm at like, no more. Can't do this anymore. So the next kid was born. He also had some medical challenges. And then once we got through some of that stuff, we had bought a house, we moved, and then realized, oh, wait a minute, I could finish my degree now. And it was one of those things where it's like, gosh, we could use another $2,000 in our budget. And I looked up like what the BAH was for the VA benefits here in this area because it was more than where we were in Mississippi. I was like, oh, hey, look, I can go back to school and I can finish my degree. And the VA benefits would, basically make up for that extra $2,000 a month. That would be very helpful to us because our kids all have food allergies and buying groceries is crazy expensive for this crowd. And
oh, yeah.
My husband was like, well, are you going to finish culinary school? I'm like, well, SBDC doesn't really have a culinary program. PTech does, but, why don't I just go ahead and finish the business degree? And my husband's like, can you just stick with something, please? So I was like, fine, I'm doing it. So finished it within 2 years, both the associates and the bachelor's. And
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Especially with having 5 kids.
5 kids at home.
Wow.
Yeah, most of the bachelor's degree was online. I took statistics twice.
Did you sleep?
Not a whole lot. The first time I took statistics, I made the mistake of taking it online. It was not the instructor's fault. It was totally my fault. I can't learn statistics that way. And then the second time I took it in the middle of the class was when everything locked down for COVID. So then I was stuck taking the second half of the class online. I was like, no. But the instructor was amazing. She was like, I will meet with you as much as I need to make sure you understand what you're doing.
Yeah, statistics, that's a tough one.
Oh, it was awful.
Especially to take online.
Yes. But I passed it with a B, so I was really excited.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, so I finished that, and then when I finished school, I was like, okay, I'm going to move forward with the restaurant concept. Well, post COVID, it's been very difficult to get any sort of equipment, and dealing with food allergies. Our family is now gluten-free, dairy-free, corn-free, egg-free, nut-free, yeast-free. I'm missing egg-free, a couple other frees. So, I want to make sure that I have a facility that can easily accommodate that to where, there isn't a risk of cross-contamination, which means I have to buy new equipment, which also means that, I have to, the training for my staff would be a lot higher. A lot of people don't want to work at the moment. So that's a little bit of a challenge. Then the equipment is at least a year out if you order it, maybe more.
Yeah.
I've been researching all of that.
Coming into 2023, we're going to have I feel we're going to have a different people will, especially with inflation, they're going to have to go back to work.
I don't know
how are they really going to have to pay for
Like,
everything right now? I don't understand it either, because it's still, the job market's still a little rough here for businesses trying to find people to come in and work.
Yeah, almost everybody I know is hiring. And, when somebody says, hey, I know somebody that's hiring, I'll go ahead and I'll connect those two people. Like, hey, here's a great business that's hiring. You'd probably be really great. They show up and they either don't want to work or, they're not dressed appropriately. Like, they're like, oh, hey, we're at the beach. And you're like,
yeah, or they want to work. They want to work from
business.
home, and you have no idea what they're doing, and
right.
they're not really getting things done like they're supposed to. I struggle with that one sometimes with some of my employees when they work from home. Like, what are you really doing?
What are you
working
doing?
from home right
Are
now?
you on Instagram? Like, what are you doing?
You seem a lot want to work from home a lot on Fridays.
Yes. Are you really working, or are you?
Yeah.
Sorry. So I ended up in December. I was like, okay, I'm still moving toward opening the restaurant concept, but I really need to pause because the inflation issue, I saw the writing on the wall. Everything was about to get a whole lot more expensive because, for a whole wide variety of reasons. And so I was like, I still have to feed my family. Like, we got to eat. We like eating. We like keeping a roof over our head. Mama's got to get to work. So in December, I got my notary stamp. Right around New Year's, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to learn everything I can, and I'm going to run with it. And so that's exactly what I've done. So I started out saying, okay, maybe I'll just do general notary work. I'll focus on that for a little while and just, learn my way around it, learn all the nuances of it, learn, how to properly identify somebody, learn remote online notarization, which is a whole different beast, learn how do I do this business to business and do it well? Those were the things that I really wanted to figure out. And I was like, well, this whole business degree is kind of pretty helpful with this. And then somebody asked me if I would help them with their documents for another country. And I was like, oh, I'm going to learn that. And then I, started researching what's available out there on that. It's called a apostille. There's not really a whole lot of training on it, and there's not a whole lot written on it. It's just sort of one of those things that's been around forever that some people know how to do and some people don't. And I was like, I'm going to learn how to do it.
Is that helping people get into other countries with all the documentations and things like that you need? Or
it depends. There's a
they move there?
Wide range. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, I have one client that's working on dual citizenship with Italy. So most of her documents were fine to just go to the state level. So, just go through Tallahassee. They're there for about 24 hours. I have somebody in Tallahassee that's helped me learn the process. And, she drops the documents off, picks them up, and then ships them right back out again. Well, one of her relatives that was in her lineage passed away in a different country other than the U.S. or Italy. So that then has to go to the U.S. Department of State and marinate there for a little while. before it can come back. And that's the last document that she needs before she can submit everything to the Italian consulate down in Miami. And then she should be granted dual citizenship with Italy, which is so cool.
That is very cool.
So then her sisters are going to go through the process too. So, so that's her. So that was a lot of fun, but that was like 15 or 16 different documents because it goes through you, your parent, your grandparent, your great grandparent. But the cool thing is that once hers is done, her sisters only have to do themselves because the other documents have already been apostilled. So it's not like the other parents, grandparents, great grandparents have to go through the whole process again. Thank goodness, because that was expensive. So that's her. I have another client that he was getting married out of the country to somebody that was a citizen of that country. And so he had it done at the state level and then called me and goes, I don't know what needs to happen with my documents from here. And so I said, let me make a phone call, email me what you got, let me look at it, let me make a quick phone call, and I'm going to call you back in just a couple minutes, and we're going to have a plan in place of exactly what to do, but be prepared because I'm sending you to FedEx. And he was like, are you for real? He's like, everybody else I've talked to doesn't know what I need to do with these documents. I'm like, yeah, I'm for real. Like, I'm going to send you a shipping label in just a few minutes. I'm just making sure that I have all my ducks in a row, so I'm telling you the correct thing. Just because I was learning the federal side of that, the federal and the embassy side. So his documents still needed to go through the U.S. Department of State and the embassy for that country. So his documents actually just came back to him a couple weeks ago, and he was just so excited because now he can finally legally go down, marry the girl of his dreams, and then bring her back. Eventually, it's not an instant process to bring her back, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, destination weddings in certain countries can be rough.
Yes.
We had this thing with Italy, getting married in Italy, because they're a little more stricter with how they go about things. So we basically had a spiritual wedding there, and then signed over documents once we got back.
Okay.
So basically legally got married in Clearwater, but didn't tell everybody until now.
Surprise!
Yeah, but we had all of our friends and family there. We did all of our vows and everything when we were there, and just our friend who's a notary signed all the paperwork.
Awesome.
Like a week ago.
Yeah, and a lot of folks will do that and go, I don't really want to go through that whole process. Especially if the documents don't necessarily have to be legalized in both countries. They'll do exactly what you did.
Yeah. So, makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
so
and a lot less expensive.
Yep, I think it would have been around $2,500 or something to get the paperwork in Italy to show that we got married there.
That sounds about right. Yeah, It's expensive. It's a very expensive process. So at the state level, a lot of the things that we end up doing is like power of attorney. So like say somebody was really nice and they gave you land in Italy, and you say, I think I'm going to sell it. Like, I'm not moving to Italy anytime soon, or maybe you do. I don't know. But I want to sell it. So, that power of attorney that you would have to give to whoever is going to sell the land in Italy, you would have to have that document apostilled. So it would be, legal both in the U.S. and in Italy. Does that make sense?
Having multiple homes internationally, that's really cool. So you know how to do all that as well.
So I don't necessarily handle the real estate real estate end of it. I'm not an attorney, and I am not a real estate agent, but I can at least help you with your documents after they're drawn up. I can notarize them for you, and then go ahead and get them sent to Tallahassee. And then our turnaround time is 24 hours in Tallahassee, and then in DC we do everything as quickly as we possibly can. But it's the federal government. Things are kind of slow.
Yes.
But there have been times where we've had to reach out to, like, Senator Scott helped us with a document for somebody, kind of expediting it through. But that's only in an emergency. Usually people will reach out with enough time to get the documents through. But sometimes people will go, by the way, I'm going to go work in another country and I'm leaving in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh no. And then, we'll walk them through the process.
To get all the paperwork done.
Yeah. Because usually after it goes through the U.S. Department of State, sometimes it's done there, and sometimes it has to go to whatever embassy that it needs to go to. So, it's just knowing that process and knowing, where do the documents need to go, what do they need to have done, and how quickly can we get it done. And one of the top questions I get asked is, hey, can you help me with my passport? I cannot help with a passport. So that's something that people have to do themselves in person. Because sadly my hands are tied. That's like there's nothing I can do to help with that unless you need something notarized for that passport. Then I can help with that. Other than that, I've got nothing.
Yeah.
I've got no way to expedite it. I've got no way, I've got no way to help with it really. So, but yeah, it's been a fun adventure. Everybody that I've worked with has been absolutely wonderful. It's like I travel without going anywhere. So one day I might be going to Italy. The next day I'm going to India. I've done several for India. Done several for Spain. Oh goodness, Cuba, Mexico.
That's really
It's
great.
been so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's fun to be a blessing to those families that are, whatever is happening with those documents, there's usually, some sort of hope, some sort of dream, some sort of goal, and it's so much fun to be able to help that move along, rather than them sitting on the documents going, I don't know what to do with them.
Or helping them figure out, I guess, the type of paperwork that you do need. I don't know, because at CEA Marketing, we take your business, your passion, and your why, and we sell it. If you're unsure where to start marketing your company, CEA Marketing is here to help. Our team at CEA has tons of experience and top-notch training, which helps you take all the stress and confusion out of marketing your own business. After years of working with large companies like Pulte Homes, the Outback Bowl, and Metro Places, we guarantee the successful implementation of a marketing strategy. I remember when I traveled to Africa with my kids, I had to have all this notarized paperwork to take with me because I was taking my, I think one of them was under 18, and so her dad had to sign off in order for me to travel with her.
Right.
But realizing when we were leaving France to try to go there, we couldn't go because I didn't have her birth certificate. You needed all this additional paperwork. That I looked at everything regarding Africa. Not one place did it say birth certificate that I could see. I guess maybe it was buried somewhere. But we got detained in France. I had to go to the embassy and send all this stuff out and have them sign off to allow her to travel with me over to Africa.
Were you guys eventually able to go?
Yeah, it took us 2, and then just getting a plane to Africa from Paris is not easy either because they only have so many planes that leave. So we were a couple of days late getting there.
Oops. So one thing that I like to tell people to do with all of these important documents, like especially if you're doing stuff for citizenship, like dual citizenship or anything like that, I wish I had brought it with me so that way I'd have a visual to show. But it's something that Christina Carter and I, my girl in Tallahassee, we're going to actually come up with a whole online learning platform. And this is one of the things that I'm going to cover in this platform. But to have a binder with everybody's documents in it, all in one place, so each person has their own tab. And this is the military spouse in me. I'm not I like to think I'm kind of organized, but I'm probably really not. But this is one area that I am organized in just because of our experience traveling with the military. But to have a binder and each person has their own tab, and then each tab is organized, so it has a zipper pouch with your passports, your social security card, and
birth certificates.
Your birth certificate can fit into a page protector. So the stuff that fits in page protectors, like your marriage certificate, that sort of stuff, put that stuff in page protectors. And then, each thing has its own tab. Your insurance, your life insurance, that sort of stuff, like copies of that stuff within the binder. So that way, if you're looking for something, it's very easily accessible. But then I always carry that with me if we travel. So that way somebody's going, wait a minute, that kid's not yours. And you're like, no, really, they are.
No.
That one's mine.
I know. I wish I had that advice before I went on that trip. So
yeah. So, but
I like that. That's great advice.
Well, and then, especially when it comes to dual citizenship, what I did for one of my clients was I actually made her a binder and then I presented it to her, because we're just waiting on one document at this point, and the documents don't usually come back to me. Every now and again they do, but not usually. So, since they were coming back to me, I was like, well, I'm not just giving them to her in an envelope. So I went ahead and I created that binder for her with the tabs, but also room to grow. So that way it's a family heirloom. Just so that way, if nieces and nephews, or if she has kids at some point or whatever, then she can give that binder on. So, but yeah, I'm a big fan of the binder system. especially for stuff like that, where it's like all really important stuff that you have to take with you. And it's also good, like, we live in Florida. We don't really have to evacuate from hurricanes that often, but if we did, like, it's nice to have that, like, all in one spot. You just grab it and go. Like, and it's one of those things where you can stick that in the car first before you stick anything else in the car, and then you've got it with you, because, you never know what you're coming home to. So.
No, you're right. All that documentation is really important.
Yeah.
That you don't want to get lost.
No, because it's a pain in the butt to get new ones, especially like if you let your ID expire or anything like that. All of that, it ends up getting so complicated. So I just highly recommend hanging on to that stuff and keeping it all, organized in one spot. And then, as your kids get older and they're leaving the house, you start them their own binder and you say, this is where the stuff is, put it on your bookshelf, where you know where to find it. And then, on starts their journey, and then they have everything all in one spot. So their health insurance, their car insurance, their whatever, whatever other important stuff that they need to keep up with.
I'm going to go home and make a binder.
There you go. There you go.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
No, I love the fact that when you came in here, we were talking about the studio and the podcast. I think Megan had talked to you about, I'm looking for guests for the podcast, and you are a master networker. I was just like blown away by all the people that and all the business cards that you gave me. And I just think that is so important for a business to grow, and especially with, what you're doing with your notary business, just being able to make those connections. And I mean, I know the next time I travel and need anything like that, you're going to be my go-to person.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
But the next person that travels, I'll have your name that I can refer out. But the fact that she came in here and literally gave me like 50 business cards of all these people that you met with, and I was just like, this is awesome. And I think like a lot of people that are starting, because you're pretty new starting your business, that is something that is so important, that you can't hide behind your computer, or you can't hide in your office.
No.
You've got to, as introverted as you possibly are, you can't allow yourself to be that way. You have to get out. You have to meet people. You have to have those introductions. And I know that's what's kept me in business for 25 years, because I am also love to network, love to get out and meet people. I didn't do well with COVID, being in my house, because that's just not, it's just not my thing, like being online doing that.
It wasn't mine either.
I was just like so blown away by that. Let's talk a little bit about that, because was so impressed by you today. And you're just going to be, I think, with whatever you do in life and in your business and the business world, you're going to be highly successful if you're just doing the things that you're doing now.
So, let's see. So any of the big piece of advice that I would give anybody starting out, I went from like a business that was not busy to I need a Calendly to just give people my link to make appointments, because I can't, I'm at the point where like sometimes I'm too busy to while we've been here today, I've gotten 6 phone calls, like, and text messages and stuff from people wanting me to do stuff for them today. So I'm at the point where like I kind of need help managing some of this. So I've got my Calendly link, and I actually have a 1-to-1 link on there. But one of the things that I would tell people that is so important is make yourself the most interested person in the room, not the most interesting. Because if you're interested in other people, you're interested in their businesses, you ask them, how can I add value for you today? People are going to want to have that conversation with you. They're going to want to make those connections and go, gosh, she actually cares about my business. She actually cares about wanting to help me grow. And because I feel like if I'm helping you grow, it's going to come right back to me. It may not come right back to me today, but it's okay. It's coming, right?
Yes.
And so, every aspect of my business has been like that. Like, I have made it a point to, go to the networking events, go to BNI groups. I love the BNI groups. I highly recommend them. Especially if you like things that are structured to where you know what you can expect. BNI is wonderful. If you like things that are a little less structured, there are other groups that are still structured but not super structured. There's the St. Pete Girl Bosses that I've plugged in with. That is a fabulous group. I highly recommend them. I've become an ambassador with them. And Actually, you should plug in with them if you haven't yet.
Which one did Megan met you through one of the groups? Because there's a couple of them.
That was the Tampa Bay Women's Professional.
Yeah, that group too is.
That group is also amazing.
They are a group of. I could not even believe it. Like I'm members of a lot of different groups, and obviously I've been doing this for different associations, all kinds of stuff over the years. I've never seen a group so eager and so committed to networking,
yes,
and also to helping each other grow their business.
Right. And
so young too. A lot of them are young. I'd say, in their 30s, 40s, but just so many women. I'm very, very impressed by that group. I think I'm more blown away by that group than any other group I've been part of so far, just because of the fact of all those awesome events that they had like 80 people, I think, at that last event that Megan was at.
I
couldn't believe it. I'm like, look at all those people there. Sometimes you're lucky to get like 10, 15 people to show up, and there was like 80, and everyone was having so much fun. But you had like the pitch. Everyone has an opportunity to pitch their business, and the online Facebook group is amazing.
Yes. All good things. And one of the things that I love about these female entrepreneurial groups is that there's not drama. There's not cattiness. There's not like, there might be some competition between a few people, but that's healthy, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really been about like, how do we help each other grow? And I love that. I really and truly, like, I feel like if that's at the heart of your business, you're going to grow. And if you're really focusing on how do I help other people, it's going to come back to you. It's just gonna, like, that's just the way it seems to work.
Yeah.
At least what I've experienced.
Yeah. Be less focused on you and getting the business, but how you can help them.
Right. Exactly. Because it's come back to me tenfold. So,
I bet it has. I can see that.
It's been really good. So yeah, I would recommend that. I would recommend your own Calendly link. And then, you can, tell somebody like, hey, I'm really interested in getting to know you guys and getting to know your business, but also figuring out, how do I add value? This might be really great. Why don't you go ahead and like pick a time on my calendar that works to you? Here's what my availability is. That's been amazing. And a lot of people are like, gosh, I really like this. I haven't used this before. And other people are like, oh man, this is great. And the person that gave me that little tidbit is Adrienne Venable, and she owns Social Dragonflies. And she spoke at one of the Girl Boss coffees, and that was one of the she gave us a lot of nuggets. And I figured out that if Adrienne says to do it, just do it. Like, she's amazing. She's manages all things social media, and I think the whole world of her. She's incredible. But that was one of the things that she told me to do. And she's like, get the scheduling off your plate and just let other people fill up your schedule. I was like, what? And I didn't do it right away because I was like, I need to be in control of my own calendar. No, I don't. Like, this is working a little bit better because people end up, scheduling time with me. And it's been really great. But it's also been really good for the one-on-ones to really get to know other people. And it's grown my business. It's grown their business. And it's been great.
Yeah.
So,
I like the one-on-one idea. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So that's something that I kind of learned from BNI. And so my friend Hugh Porter, he owns Madeira Consultants. He was the first person that I formally did a one-on-one with as I was exploring the whole BNI idea. And he's like, oh, well, come on, let's go do a one-on-one. And so I got to hear about his business. He does payroll processing. And so he helps your small business figure out like what are the best options. He's got several different options that he can work through to help you with your your payroll processing. So, think when you're trying to figure out how do I best pay my employees, like, and they can all have direct deposit and that sort of stuff. Like, he does that. He'd be a great guest on your show, actually. So I sat down with him and I was like, gosh, I really love this, because he asked me some questions. I asked him some questions, and I really got to know him, and got to know like what he enjoys, and but also like why did he decide to go into business for himself when he was working for ADP for a while, when he was like, I could do this for myself and make a little more money, like, and have my own schedule and do my own thing. Yeah. And, gave him some more freedom, and, it's been really good for him, but it was great to learn that. Like, if I hadn't done that one-on-one with him, I would never know that, And then he got to learn a little bit more about my business, and then realized that I help on the apostille end of things. He's like, oh, wait, some of my clients are Russian, and some of my clients are from here, and some of them are, and it's like, great, connect me. And that's been really good. So I learned it from him, but I also learned like if I'm plugging into BNI, that's something that they expect you, they want you to do so many of them a month, which is fine because I love connecting with people. I love doing stuff like this. And, you know, it's been good. So I've decided that I'm going to just keep rolling with it, you know.
That's wonderful. I love the idea. The one I was always curious about BNI. I'm more of a less structured of a networker,
Okay.
but I do like the concept of that. It sounds like they give you a lot of really good tools.
They do. Their education platform seems to be really good. I'm just plugging in.
Yeah.
I started working for an attorney, the LexWorks law firm, and Paul Ferreira, and he does business law. So I'm helping him out with BNI and with you know, other things around his office as needed, and that's been really great so far. But you know, he was like, basically, you get to do all of these things. I'm like, oh, this is so great. These are all things that I would love to do, and I'm sure it's all stuff that I learned in school.
Yeah.
But it's great to have it reinforced. I feel like I can keep relearning it, you know, and maybe learn it a different way or apply it a different way or something. But you know, those one-on-one connections are key to helping your business grow.
They absolutely are, because you learn a lot about the other people and getting all that advice from them as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, better ways that you can do things.
Absolutely.
It's like I learned a couple of things from you today, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so like one of the things that I do, I should have brought it in, it's out in the other room, but I have, you know, the little money bags that they give you at the
Yes.
bank, like you open your business account, which mine is with Bank OZK. They've been really good to me. So they gave me a couple of them. I'm like, what do I do with a couple of these? I don't even know. So I decided, oh, wait a minute, I can use this to hold business cards. And so I put my business cards in there. I have some of Paul's business cards in there, but I also have a whole bunch of business cards that I've gotten from other people. And so, like with you earlier, you're like, oh, hey, you know, I'm kind of looking for this person. I'm looking for that person. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I got their card right here.
Yes, you did.
And I think I gave you a stack of like 50 cards.
I think you did.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So great future guests for the show.
Yes.
You know, and hopefully folks that choose to use the space you have here, it's beautiful.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's truly amazing. I came here for one of the events with Karina's group, and it was just like, you know, just walking through the space, like you feel like you're at peace, but you're also like, oh my gosh, this is just so beautiful. Like, I was really excited about the space.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I was like, I want to do this when I grow up. And then I was like, wait a minute, it's expensive. Maybe I won't. You know?
Yeah, the studio space
It's not cheap, but goodness, what a great space and what a great way that you're using it. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm so impressed by that. Like, I just think it's amazing.
Yeah, I wanted to start Second Soul as a place for small businesses, because I don't feel that there's a lot of big studios in the area, and they're super expensive. If you want to go in and create any type of content, you're going to pay probably about 10 grand or more to get started.
Oh my word.
And I didn't feel that there was anything available for smaller companies. My agency, I own an agency next door, which is CE Marketing Group, and we serve more of the medium-sized businesses. So any account probably like 100 grand or more spend, and we do like all their planning and of all their campaigns and design and everything. But my thought process with this place was a place for the smaller business to come in, because a lot of it they're individuals. They do some of it themselves, but the creative side of it, you have to, find a space where you can, find really great photographers, video people, and that kind of thing to help you with what you're doing. So that's what Second Soul is for, and it's very affordable here.
Yeah.
Where we can help them at a really great price, get started with everything, or take a look at what you're currently doing and make some assets to help you grow your business.
That's awesome, because I know a lot of us are like me, going, I don't want to take on the debt. Like, I want to have a debt-free business. I want to stay debt-free. Like, that's my big thing. Like, I just didn't want to take on the debt for the business. So literally everything that I've done for my business, I haven't done everything myself, but I've done a lot of things myself, and some things could definitely be done better. I'm the first person to admit that. But the really important piece of it is that, like, pay for good quality photography, get headshots done. Like, you need that. Like, that's not a negotiable thing.
Yeah.
But this space here that you have is perfect for headshots. It's great for branding photos. It doesn't even matter what industry you're in. The opportunities here are literally endless with the beautiful spaces you've created, both inside and outside. I like the little outdoor space there too. It's really pretty. But it's hard to figure out, like, how do I budget that, right? How do I structure my budget to where I can afford to do this? And I know for me, it's been I set a goal. I put a little bit of money in savings until I meet my goal. And then I reassess and figure out, wait, can I really afford to do this now? Okay, great. We're doing it. And, kind of move forward that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I know that, other folks are just like, oh, I'll put it on a credit card. Or, I'll take out some sort of loan, or if they're really fortunate, they get a grant, although I've had the hardest time finding grants for my business. I've been looking, but maybe I'm not looking in all the right places.
During COVID was a big help for, I think, a lot of businesses, especially if you've been in business for a while, because they offered all those EDL loans and things like that, which the EDL loan helped me with Second Soul.
Oh, nice.
Which was really nice. I got the money from that, and I put it into the business to help grow. And it was a good thing to do, because on the agency side of things, it's just like you mentioned, hard to find employees. And so I decided to kind of take the agency and more of a small boutique type of feel, where instead of having a ton of people working for me, I'm more of a boutique agency, which has worked out so far really well.
Cool.
But also we've been changing kind of our service offerings to make it more like video and content based.
Right.
Which that's
because that's where the money is.
That's
really,
and it's the direction everything's going right now anyway. Right. You have to have good video, and good content that you're putting out there.
Right.
So we're smart by doing it, and that's why I invested in all this equipment and everything. But I've basically paid off most of the equipment and things like that, because it's what the service that we sell the most of. Okay.
Yeah. So I went to the entrepreneurial social group on Thursday night. I'd been trying really hard to get to one of their meetings at one point. They meet every Thursday night at Nova 535. Have you been to visit them before?
Where is this at?
Thursday nights from 6:30 to 8:30 at Nova 535 down in St. Pete.
Is that a different networking group?
It's a different networking group. It's the entrepreneurials social group.
No, but I should go check that out.
You should go. You should absolutely go.
Okay, maybe I'll go this Thursday. I'm going to a concert down there. So
there you go. So one of the guys was talking about how he took just video and figured out that 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening were the best times to post anything, because he tried to post something at like 1:30 in the afternoon and it went nowhere. But he's grown from like hardly anything to like a huge, amazing company just with video content. And I was like, wait a minute, I think I need to get a little more into this video content thing, because I've been kind of like, I'm old. I don't necessarily want to do videos, but I'm realizing now that, in order to like pivot with today's society, because really and truly, like if we learned anything through COVID, we had to learn to pivot, right?
Yes.
And I feel like those who didn't pivot didn't make it. So I have to pivot, and I have to hop outside my comfort zone. That's the other big thing. If you're trying to run a business, get out of your comfort zone. Like throw the comfort zone away, throw the damn box away. Like just throw it all out and do the things that you need to do to grow your business. Like those are probably, if I could throw nuggets out to anybody, like those are the things you need to do. But do videos and release them at 7 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock in the evening. And
weekends do really well too.
Yes. And they should go viral pretty quickly.
Yeah. And lots of reels.
Yes.
Reels go viral very quickly.
Yes.
That's what I'm noticing. You don't have to pay to have them, because a lot of regular video or more statics doesn't really move too well for businesses, but the reels will.
Yes. So there's one of the girls in the St. Pete Girl Bosses group. She's going to do a reels training, or she might have just done it. I might have missed it, but I'm going to try to circle back around with her and learn what I need to learn, just because that,
I need to get some of those content creators' names and get them in the studio.
I will.
Give them some work.
Yeah, I was going to say they would probably love that.
Yeah.
But I know for, somebody like me, I didn't grow up in the video age. I grew up with MTV. Like,
Me Me too.
You know, so the idea of like going out to make videos to push my business and really like move my business along here in like the realm of what does everybody see is still like kind of uncomfortable to me. But I really and truly have to pivot. I gotta.
I think you have a lot of really great content that you can provide.
I do,
and
yeah.
you could be really helpful that way for
like,
sure.
The one that other thing that I really want to share before I forget, just on the notary end of things, if this is helpful to somebody, I really hope so. If it gives somebody a good swift kick in the butt, I hope it does. Your estate planning. So I had a client a couple months ago that her friend asked if I could come bedside. She had been admitted to the hospital. Could I come right away to notarize her will, her living will, healthcare surrogate, power of attorney, and like all the big ticket stuff. Well, long story short, without saying too much that might get me in trouble, she ended up passing before she was able to sign her paperwork. I was calling the hospital every couple hours to see if she woke up, and she didn't wake up. And, because by the time I got to the hospital...
it's a mess if that doesn't happen beforehand.
It is a mess.
I've seen it happen a lot of times.
Yes, it is a mess. So if I can encourage anybody to do anything, I would say get your estate planning in order. The LexWorks law firm can help you with that. They do estate planning. But the other thing that's really important is the estate planning for your business. Like, if something were to happen to you, do you have a succession plan for who becomes the next business partner for your business partners? Or are they stuck with your new husband and kids as their business partners, which maybe that might not be the best fit. So things like that need to be planned out, and Paul can help you with that. So it's Paul Ferreira with LexWorks Law Firm. Highly recommend.
I'm actually looking for someone right now to do all that for me.
I was going to say, I gave you
because I don't have a plan right now. So if I get run over by a car,
you need a plan.
It's going to be a problem.
Yeah, don't get run over by a car. Call Paul instead.
Okay.
But that's something that a lot of people don't think through, that succession plan for their business. And if you have a business partner that maybe you don't necessarily want to become business partners with their family, that's something to have in writing ahead of time.
Yeah.
So
no, that's all good advice.
So call Paul for that, because, and I'm happy to come and notarize those documents. Like, that's something that I want to make sure that whatever your wishes is what happens. At least on the legal end. I can't help with all the rest of it, but at least on the legal end, know.
Oh, great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. You had one more thing that you wanted to talk about. It's charity that you're involved with. You have an event coming up.
Okay, so there is a backpack drive. I think I gave you the
Yes, you did.
The thing, so we'll hold it up here. So the Pinellas Park Medical District is holding a backpack drive on July 23rd, which is this Saturday from 9 to 12 at St. Petersburg College on Park Boulevard and 66th Street. And they're going to be doing some really cool giveaways. There's about a lot of other companies out there that will be doing all kinds of neat things while they're out there. But the important thing that I want to talk about is I will be out there to notarize your kids' back to school forms, because sometimes it's hard to find somebody to do that. So I would recommend either coming, it's from 9 to noon, and myself and another notary will be out there to help out. So that way, if there's a bunch of people, we'll also have a computer, a printer, and a scanner out there, so we can print out the document if you don't bring it with you, and then we can scan it back for you. So that way you have an email copy in case you lose it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So important things. But if you can't make it to that event, but you're like, gosh, I still need a notary to help me with these forms, I can do them remotely online or in person. So either hop on my Calendly and just schedule yourself a time. All my availability is in there. Or give me a call, text, email, whatever. And, I would be happy to help with that, because I know for me, I've had to scramble in the past, and I usually have a friend that helps me with that. But, there isn't always a notary available at the school. So if that's something that I can be of value and help with, I would love to help.
Okay,
So.
Great. We will make sure that we put all of your contact information in the show notes, on both the show notes, if you're either listening to it or watching on YouTube. All the links for her notary business and how to contact Amanda will all be on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, so happy that you came in, and I learned so much about a lot of things today
Yeah.
and got a lot of new leads. So thank
Yes,
you.
you're welcome.
It was wonderful.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for tuning in today. And we will see you at the next show.
Second Soul Studios is a full-service production studio with capabilities for photo, video, podcasting, editing, co-working, and more. Our photo video studio has a number of different backdrop choices and props to choose from. We also have a gourmet kitchen set, or if you're an upstart podcaster, you'll love our 4-person podcast studio. So what are you waiting for? Visit secondsoulstudios.com to book a tour today.